Now I want to show you how you can create accessible handouts for your presentation. And I showed you the standard way, and I'm going to walk you through of how to create the handouts, and then I'm going to show you a workaround, another way to do it. So we go to the File tab. We've already checked accessibility, and we're going to go to the File tab, and we're going to go down to Export. And that's where we see Create Handouts. So we're going to create handout. And the blank lines next to slides, that's the most preferred for a lot of attendees. For visual learners, they like to see the picture of the slide and then be able to take notes. But for accessibility purposes, for anyone who needs large print, or if they need a digital copy because they're going to use a screen reader or they're going to read it on their Braille note taker, you're going to want to have outline view. And so I'm going to click on that and I'm going to say OK, and you'll see when you do that it starts to put all the information into a Word document. So it is creating it there and it's flashing, and when it finishes flashing that tells us that it has completed putting that together for us. All right, it looks like, is it done? Yes. So we're going to click on it and open it up, and I just want to show you so it makes it in a very large font, Arial size 44, which is really large. And because it's in 44 size point font, it is 66 pages long. So that is a bit too large. So I'm going to go Control-Alt to select all of it, and I want it to be 16-point font. That is minimum for large print. And for our all the different areas, the text within, we want it to be 16, but we still want to have the levels. And you'll see on my first slide, I did have it centered. So I want to have that be left aligned, but everything in, I mean, that is the minimum for providing an accessible copy. But you'll see it doesn't have the different styles. And so somebody going through electronically who's using a screen reader, they're not going to be able to navigate through the different pages. And so I would want to make this accessible following the same guidelines we used when we were making the documents. But I'm not going to keep this copy. I want to show you another way. So let's close out of there. No, I don't want to save that. Oh, well, let me show you using that same method. So let's say you want to create the other type of handout. So create handouts, and let's say you want to use blank lines next to slides. You select that. I do not like using this method. It takes a really long time, especially for PowerPoint this large, and it is flashing. It is going to take a long time, and usually it does not. It gets about a few pages in, and then I get the warning that Microsoft Word is not able to read it just because it's too much information. It's too large of a file. Let's click on it. And the other thing I don't like about it is that it has the 3 columns. So it has a column for the slide and the slide number, and then that second column is the picture of the slide, and in the third column is the lines. But I feel like it makes the slide too small. And so I really don't like doing it this way. So I'm going to, let's see if it lets me close out. No, I don't want to save that. And it's still processing. Well, we're going to get the warning here in a minute. Yep, PowerPoint couldn't write to Microsoft Word. Okay, so here's the other way you can do it. For making the one for visual learners, we're going to go to Print instead. And we're not going to print it, we're going to save it as a PDF. But one of the options in settings, it says full page slides. I don't want the full page slides. I want to do the 3 and there. That's the preferred method that people like. And so now you have it, and it's so much easier. And you can save it as a PDF and send. And I just think that looks so much better. The other thing you can do is you can go to edit the header and footer, and so you can include the date. And so you might want to have the date of your conference or the date that you create it, your page number. You want to put in the header. You might want to put the title of it, accessible content for students who are blind and visually impaired. And actually that was or. Okay, and then the footer, I might want to have teaching students with visual impairments, and maybe I'll put my name, Carmen Willings. Apply to all. There, so now I have my footer. It has the date that it was created here anyhow. Oh no, that's what we put in. So we have the title, we have the date, we have the page number of the slides, but also the page number so that you can keep it in the correct order. So all that information is there, and instead of printing it, you could print it, but you could save it to a PDF. Now, if I'm going to print this out, or somebody's going to want to print it out, you might not want to have color, and then that might not print as well. So you might want to copy it in black and white. And the reason I'm going to show you when I click on grayscale. You don't want to do grayscale because if any of your text you have on top of colors, and I did have that on some of my slides. Let me go find them. There. So you'll see if you have text on top of slides, it's all black. And so that you can't read that. So what I'm going to need to do is to change that. And when I go to pure black and white, now I can see that. And so that shows up. So anyhow, this is how you can make the handouts. You can go to the printer properties and you can say, I want to save it as a PDF. Okay. And then if I wanted to go back, then I have to change that again to black and white. But I'd probably want to do it in color. Most people like to have the color if they're accessing it electronically. So now I want to show you one more way. Let's go back into our slide. So for making an accessible copy, you can go through the way you can export it to make that large print and then adapt it, or you can go to outline view. So my outline comes up, and if I select all, so Control A and then Control C, I copy it, right? Then I can open up a Word document and I can paste it in there, and I have it. And now I can do side by side, and I can, again, this is still going to be accessible. You're going to have to make the font size larger because of course this is 11 points. So you're going to select all, everything's at that normal reading level. So I want to change and modify that my normal is 16, right? Change that. And then I'm going to want to go through, let's just actually clear formatting. I'm going to want to add my title, drop down, find my title. Might make this a little bit larger there. And then I'm going to go through for each one, and I'm going to do heading style. But my heading style, I had set it to 14. So I'm going to want to modify that, because if our normal is 16, we don't want to have it smaller. So let's just have it a little bit larger. Let's put it at 18 in bold, so it stands out. And now we'll have the different sections. So now what I'm going to need to do is to make it fully accessible, to go through and add these headings so that somebody can go through and navigate those pages. And that is how you make accessible handouts.